feeling at the end of a rope. Double them all, but we end up broken into the foe with my head so low. But I never leave without hope. Get a venom in the bottle, do not follow in. What do I know? I'm the feeling of a boat. Then you forget about them, all the venom in and that I'm all the different around and knowing that I won't.
Let's get it, y'all. What is going down, world? Welcome to the 40-year-old FUQ Boys podcast. I go by the name Black Pegasus, Black Pepper Sauce, Salty Pegasus, the last snare bender, and I have a very special guest in the building, my main man, D.Cure. What's up, man? Say what's up.
What up, what up? Thank you for having me.
Hell yeah.
Man, glad to be here.
Thanks for being a part of it, man. So we brought it in with a joint that you got called We Are the People, and you were going crazy right there.
Yes, sir.
You were going crazy, man. That's tight, bro. He could spit, and I'm happy to have him. We actually have a song together. We did a joint with Chris Calico, Stevie Stone. It's called 2A All Day. You guys need to check that out. But yo, you want to give a shout out to like some of your handles and stuff where people can find you before we get started?
Ooh, absolutely. So I actually just restarted my Instagram page, and so now that's at D.Cure the Rapper over on Instagram. You can search just D.Cure anywhere, and you should be able to find me. But
cool.
Easy enough.
All right, you guys. Well, we're about to get into this. We're about to have an epic interview with D.Cure. So buckle up. I didn't even really give his accolades. He's a super dope rapper. He's popping on a bunch of different platforms, so you got to check him out. He's got a squad, but we're going to get into that. We're going to get into all of that. But before that, don't forget to like, share, and comment on all the content. But if you're really rocking with the vibe, subscribe to the channel. My New Year's resolution is to hit 100,000 subs before the end of the year, and I can't do it without you guys. So let's get things moving. You know what it is. 40-year-old
What? Boys are back in town. 40. Boys are back in town. 40-year-old
What?
Boys are back in town. The boys are back in town. 40-year-old FUQ Boys podcast. Malt liquor for your ears. 40.
All right, let's get this thing started. I'm going to take this logo off of the screen, you guys. Now, don't forget to check us out on all digital streaming platforms. You can find D.Cure. He has a bunch of bangers. But also, we did a joint together called 2A All Day. It's featuring myself, Chris Calico, Stevie Stone, Gotta Miss, all, you know, from Strange Music, and then us. But without further ado, we're going to get things started. Actually, also, we are going to have a super dope Harry Mack reaction video to Omega Bars 84. So I want you guys to see him spitting some bars live. So make sure you tap in on the channel for that. And let's get things started, man. Thanks for showing up, man. Thanks for coming through.
Yeah, thank you.
It was kind of we live in the same state, but he drove 2 hours to be here. So I mean, this is epic,
worth
man.
Worth it.
Yeah, man. I love getting people on here, especially people that I rock with. And me and you started building kind of through Instagram. I think it was after, like, I posted something, and I think I tagged Topher in it originally, and then he showed love, and I was like, oh, snap. I was all surprised, you know? And then me and you kind of connected through that. So
Right, yeah. I think Topher actually mentioned you to me, and then I was like, well, he does, like, hip-hop stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, I got to hit him up, so.
Yeah, heck yeah. Let's get into it, man. So where are you from originally?
So I'm originally from Arizona, a small town called Sierra Vista.
Okay.
And it's way down. Both my parents were in the Army, and it's like outside of a base called Fort Huachuca.
Okay, cool.
And
So Arizona, and then what brought you to Colorado? Did you live in Arizona most of your life? Like,
yeah, so until I was 18, I joined the Air Force at 18, and then I was in for 10 years, and then I met my wife in California. We moved out to Colorado because her dad was sick, so we moved out here for family. But
yeah, awesome. Now you said you did 10 years. You're a vet in the Air Force. What did you do in the Air Force?
I was a military police.
Okay, cool. It's interesting. My pops was in the Air Force. He was a firefighter.
Oh, nice.
So, I really enjoyed that time of my life because I've been saying this on the podcast, right? Like, as I try to bring people together, because the concept of America, united, right?
Yeah.
I started noticing something. I felt like I had a different vision of America because of the military. In the military, we all actually live together. It's white, black, Asian. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But in real life, I started. So my whole skew of America was like, this is America, bro. Come on, y'all. And what I noticed is when I go to the big cities, like, oh, there's Little Havana, there's Chinatown, there's it, and we're kind of separated out. And I was like, oh, I didn't really realize that until the last couple of years. And I was like, I have this different version of America that I will not let go of. I'm like, I love this. And I think that's where we should all strive to be. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? That's awesome. Thanks for your service
Thank
too.
you.
Sometimes I was like, man, I should have I feel a little more patriotic these days, you know?
Yeah.
But then I'm not going to go down this road with you, but you know, the GOV controlling where we go and stuff, it gets kind of crazy these days. So it is what it is. So from Arizona to Colorado, how old were you when you got to Colorado with wifey?
29.
Okay. How long have you and wifey been together? Or married? Let's just say married.
We've been married since 17, so I'm almost 6 years.
Okay, cool,
6
man.
years,
You about to break the stats, man. They say marriages in America last I think 5 to 8 years is the stat. Me and my wife we're hit our 8, so we're man, let's get it, y'all married.
We made it.
Yep. So yeah, man, that's awesome. So when did you start getting into hip hop?
Man, teenager.
Teenager?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know we had this conversation before, but Lauryn Hill, I grew up in the church, and so that was like one movie I could watch was Sister Act 2, and Lauryn Hill was on that movie. And I was like, man, she could sing and rap, and I was a fan, so that kind of like pulled me in.
Now, was she the first one to kind of pull you in, or
other than like Eminem and stuff? Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's wild too, because I think as a male coming up in that time period, sometimes we sleep on female MCs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I remember being young, and Lauryn Hill did stand out. So Lauryn Hill and MC Lyte. But it was like you had Queen Latifah and all this stuff going on, but I was just like, like, you know, you started being like, oh, Tupac, Biggie, you know, they kind of get slept on. Mm-hmm. But Lauryn Hill she's a gem, bro. Like, she's soulful. And in a time where I would say, this is what I'm going to say, this is for me, where we're fighting huge, like, degradation, raunchiness in the music, she was out there like, women, don't do that. Like, you're virtuous. You have some soul. Have some respect. And it's so funny. Like, I'm like, why did all the big rappers are like, you know, Little Kim clones? They're just like Little Kim on steroids right now. You know what I'm saying? It's like, cool, you really can rap, but geez, can we, you know what I'm saying? Can we get a little Lauryn in here?
Y'all missed the message.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Now, when you started gravitating to hip hop, were you listening to other genres too? Like, were you like, yo, I'm a big fan of rock? Like, or was it you're just a hip hop kid?
Just hip hop.
That's
backpacker. Yeah.
Let's go. So I'm similar, man. So like, I've been doing reactions on the channel. I just found out about Stevie Ray Vaughan. Are you familiar?
Like country or
he's a guitarist.
Rock. Okay,
he's a guitarist.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so like I never even heard of him, and I'm like, dude, this dude's the GOAT. So it's cool because I'm turning a different chapter where I'm like learning about new genres because I was just like a hip hop backpack kid. So you were into Eminem as well. Was there anyone else who stood out? Like as you started going, people you started kind of that helped you. Actually, let's keep going. When did you start writing rhymes? When did you know? Because it's like you're like I like hip hop.
Yeah.
Well, there's a chapter that's turned when you're like, I'm actually going to write a rhyme.
Honestly, just watching, like, it was either like 106 in Park or something. And I was like, being someone that's so into lyrics and seeing like more mainstream hip hop, I was like, well, this isn't good. So let me try. I could do this. And I was wrong for a long time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I always tell people I was the worst rapper that ever existed when I started. And it took me forever to get to where I'm at now. But yeah, I mean, just the motivation to keep the craft at a high level, I think was something that motivated me to start. But
wow. Yeah. So you actually, you know, that's pretty G for you to be like, you know, I don't know. I'm like, let me start, like, let me get in the game because I'm not feeling this. That's crazy because
I won't name who it was, but
that's wild. But that's super dope. I love that because for me personally, I got into writing rhymes because I would emulate what I saw on MTV. I do these little quirky videos with my brother, and we'd just be lip syncing. And then one day, one of my buddies brought an instrumental over, and we were just messing around trying to throw a rhyme together. And it took a progression. And, you know, it's interesting because now that I think back, at a certain point when I was a rapper, I started thinking I was like, dude, these dudes are whack. But it's just interesting. Like, you're kind of ahead of it. You're like, oh, I need to write some rhymes.
Yeah.
That's tight. When do you think you put out? When did you start recording?
Young.
Young?
Yeah, we actually had a shed in our backyard that became like the studio. So it was actually what we called the launch pad. So I had 3 other brothers, and when we were like the oldest brother would take the shed, and it was like a bedroom / studio.
Yeah.
And so we would just be in there recording rhymes. So like in high school, I was recording.
This is epic. So I like doing my interviews conversation style, and that's one of the questions I would have missed, but it came up. Yo, how many siblings do you have?
3. Yeah.
Just 3 brothers?
3 brothers, yeah.
Oh,
no
man.
sisters. Yeah.
That's crazy. I have a brother as well. So were your brothers into rhyming?
No, they like we all played instruments and stuff growing up, but I was the only one. Yeah.
Where do you fall in the brother? Are you middle child,
3.
oldest? Okay, so you're the
third.
You're the baby.
The middle baby. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what instruments did you guys play?
So we had saxophone, drums. I played trumpet. My little brother played oboe.
Okay.
So
wow.
Since my parents were in the Army band, they almost like made us.
Oh, that's cool.
Like,
so
you're
your
gonna play an
parents were in the
instrument.
band, so it kind of transitions. The music flows through you. Because we haven't even got to this part of the interview, but I know the singing, the melodies, like you're doing a lot of the hooks, and you're really good at it. And I was kind of like, that's my weak point. Writing hooks and having certain melodies. I can do rap hooks, but it takes me a while to get my hooks down.
Okay.
My craftsmanship is like in the double, triple entendre, just like linear punchline. And you're a chopper. Now, I can chop a little bit, but I wouldn't even say at the level that you're doing it, like even right there.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Do you think playing the trumpet helped you at all with hip hop or like,
Maybe melody wise?
Okay.
Like, to carry a tune and to kind of like find good. Because trumpet usually takes a lead part. So I think that might have helped me with hooks for sure.
I noticed, so the homie Harry Mack we're going to react to, he's a drummer, a jazz drummer, and he says that really helped him stay in pocket because he can do a lot of rhythms. We'll get into that, and you'll be able to see that. That's super interesting, man. My mom put me in piano lessons when I was young, and I was a knucklehead, bro. I should have learned piano. I'd be in here making
piano.
beats now, like, let's get it.
Piano's one of the best ones to know.
So let's find out what you do. So I know you write rhymes at a very high level. You also, with writing rhymes, you come up with incredible hooks. Do you produce it all? Do you make beats, or is that something you leave for producers?
I used to.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of trailed away from that because I wanted to focus on, rhymes and hooks and the songwriting itself. But yeah, for probably the first 10 years, I was just rapping to my own beats.
Okay. So, what level do you think you got to making beats? Pretty good, or just you're like, man?
Medium.
Medium?
Medium, okay.
It's like medium rare, medium rare. That's the best way to get the steak anyway. Okay, that's cool, man. Like, that's something I never dabbled into. And I've always been curious, like you being able to play a trumpet and stuff like that. I figured you're going to have a little edge with creating music, because I feel like anyone who's like, I call it classically trained or understands instrumentation, it just gives them a little edge. Like, I didn't even know how to count bars. I'm just writing like poetry type rap at first, And so being able to read music and stuff like that, I think it helps the process a little bit. So
that's a great point of view, because you don't even think about that. Like, if you already used to keeping time when you're playing music, then it's just second nature.
And that's the thing with my slow linear flow, I can count bars, but when I start double timing, I'm like, oh, where am I at? I have to like, well, where's the hook? Like sometimes, like it's just what it is. And I've been rapping like 25 years plus, and I'm like, bro, you gotta actually kind of, I'm one of the people, like, I go for the feeling, and I know there's like, let's say rap nerds, not trying to be disrespectful, but they're like, yo, they just know everything about the way a scheme is going, or they can break down everything Eminem is doing, right? Yeah. I can't do that. I'm just like, yo, this sounds hot.
Sounds good.
Yo, I heard this punchline. Like, this is epic, So there's things that as I'm getting a little more mature, I'm like, I want to dive into this, because there's a science. It's almost like there is a science to it. So I think that's epic. Now, as we talk about your upbringing and, you getting into rhyming and recording with your brothers, which is actually pretty epic. Because for you guys to situate that, how old were you when you did that, when you started recording for the first time?
I had to have been 15, 16 years old.
What year was that, if you don't mind me asking? I'm just trying to, because like technology was different for me. I think I'm
like 2002.
I'm like about to be 43, so
2002.
Okay, yeah,
early 2000s.
Well, yo, that's raw because I was just starting to get momentum. Man, the technology wasn't that lit. That's crazy. Y'all were recording in 2002. Wow, kudos. That's.
So, one of my brothers was in like a rock band, so they already had a setup going to record at the house. So I was just like in the corner doing my own thing. But
that's crazy.
Yeah, so,
what kind of rock did your brother do?
It was mostly like Christian rock.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Yeah.
So you guys stayed pretty tight niched in the Christian base and in your faith.
Absolutely.
Cool.
For a bit.
Yeah.
I got a little lost.
Okay.
Okay. But.
I think we might have something in common there because, dude, what's funny is like on my channel, sometimes people don't really know, bro. Like my mom is hardcore Christian. My dad was Christian with her, but I remember we didn't celebrate Halloween. We went to church, dressed up as Bible characters. Dude, my video games, there is a video game called Bible Adventures on Sega.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's what we had. See?
We didn't do Halloween either.
Yeah, so it's just like, I grew up in that, and then as I became a teenager, I became a little rebellious. I did get lost in the music influenced by rap, and I went down my own path. But I'm very happy to go down that path because now I've kind of been able to come back to a center line, appreciate my faith, appreciate these things. As now that I'm raising a daughter, it's like, okay, I got to figure this out for real now. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, yo, like
it gives you perspective. You know what life could be like.
Yeah.
And you can embrace where you really want to be.
Well, my parents, and I know we're in this new time where people, sometimes even on my channel, people are like, oh my gosh, P's talking about this again. But, it gave me a structure that I didn't realize. And the other thing, being in a military family gave me disciplines.
Oh, yeah.
Where that just, dude, it's literally saved my life. And I've went down bad paths. Like, there's things I could be in jail, like, for a long time for just being dumb, knuckleheaded and running with, let's say, the gang, the gang life, and I'm very blessed to be here. What type of things did you go through as it sounds like, what is it when they're like, open my wings and flew away from the nest?
Yeah. We wanted to, so this is something I say a lot is when I was a kid, I was always told like, you need to be saved. And I wanted to know what from. Like, what is the danger? So when I went out into the world, I just wanted to see what the world had to offer, and I became an alcoholic. And so that path was very, very dark for me. I probably was an alcoholic for 13 years. So about the same time I started rapping, I started drinking too.
Oh, wow.
And so I got really lost, and throughout my time in the military, like, I did well, but I also was like a functioning alcoholic. And so at the end of that road, it got really dark, and I tried to end my life.
Oh,
so
wow.
It was like, one of those rock bottom moments that I needed my faith to pull me back out.
Yeah.
So,
well, thank God you're still here. Yeah. That's, oh man, it's touching because I have some friends that are no longer with us because of stuff like that, and some friends who almost were no longer with us and still haven't gotten where they need to get. And it's like, it's interesting because you want to be there to help. But as you start navigating life, you realize that you have to keep certain type of energy around you to be who you are. Now, I was lucky, man. Like, I went down the gang path and was doing just dumb gang-related stuff. But it's so weird, man. My mom imprinted, like, I was scared to get tattoos, earrings, to drink and smoke. I was just never going to do it. I remember I do have a tattoo, you guys. I got my first tattoo when I was 30. I'm not getting another one. It's my record label. And she was just like, oh, Hito. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, Mom. But I never got earrings, and that's just that she was just like, hey, this is a man. This is what men do. My dad was just kind of, he was just, like I had things to follow coming up. And I got lucky, man. That's one of the things that, as a father, I want to try to keep my child away from drugs. And the reason, we're seeing, let's say, even with the fentanyl stuff, like people are just, out there recreational doing things, and it's going a wrong route. We've lost Mac Miller to these things. We've lost incredible people to these things. And I just don't want, and I'm like, as a father, I'm like, how do I keep my child away from this? And I'm like, okay, what kept me away from it? And it was structure. And eventually the prodigal son comes home, and that's what happened. And here I am, And I'm like, bro, like, Anyways, this is about you, man. I just get kind of
so
crazy.
true. Like that one lesson, that you learned when you were 8 years old or something, saved you.
Yeah.
Years later, and you didn't even know it. So it's the same for me. Like coming back and having that structure and that foundation in my faith was like, where do I go now? Because I felt like I was so lost. There was nowhere else to go. It was like, let's return to who I used to be.
Yeah.
And so that's how I refound.
Sometimes as humans too, we need that, we need that extra pull. You need help. And I do believe that, obvious, there's something that created, God. I believe in God. Sometimes I speak like but I believe in my God and creating all of this. I believe it's too magnificent and too complicated for it just to be randomized.
Right.
Now people have it, you see evolution right in front of us, and this is supposed to be the explanation for everything. But I'm like, there's something that caused this evolution. It's just too, like, even before camera, I talked to you about my daughter and some of the things we went through. And the fact that diet helped her out with her ailments so much, I'm like, this is not by coincidence that this, steak and strawberries helped heal her from, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like,
it was here for a reason.
Yeah. So that's really cool to hear. Now, I'm always on the internet curating content, and I follow your stuff, but I bounce around. Didn't you recently put out, or you have a song about sobriety and stuff like that, and
Sure
some
do.
of the things you've dealt with? Remind me what the song's called, and let's go down that path a little bit.
So the big song probably is called Home. And in that song, I'm really just praying, because there was a time in my life where I was just praying to God to take me home, like to take me from this earth to heaven.
Yes.
And that was really just the rock bottom, like me speaking on that and remembering the moments, where I felt like there was nothing left, no hope left. And so Home was a big song. And I'm just singing. I'm not even rapping in that song, but
yeah,
it's a big one.
It's really cool that you actually can sing and rap and put that together. Not everyone can do it, and do it as at a high level that you're doing. From the rock bottom moment, did you have to pull yourself up by yourself? Did your family intervene at any level? What was going on? Were you with wifey at that time? Like, okay.
I was by myself. I was in a really bad relationship, and she had kind of like walked out and said she was done with me. Yeah. And then that was kind of like just the last straw, and drank everything in my fridge. And I was living with the roommate, but he was out of town, and I knew he had a pistol. And so I went and got it, and I was like trying to work up the courage, by drinking everything that I had. And honestly, I got on the phone with someone like way back from like high school, and I was just texting with them, and they managed to get me to call the suicide hotline. I hardly remember it, but so I was kind of like blacking out. I kind of remember the paramedics and the police showing up to my house, and then I just woke up in the hospital.
Wow.
That same morning, my supervisor brought me back home, and he was like, check that out. There was a bullet hole in the ceiling. And that was like, okay. He's looking out for me now, because what I had imagined is I just pulled it away and shot the gun into the ceiling, but didn't recall any of that. So yeah, I mean, that was just like a moment of clarity.
Yeah. Well, man, I'm glad you made it out of that. That's a wild place to be. But again, you being vulnerable and sharing your story, it's good because other people need to hear this and know that there's, you could, it's like Lazarus, man. Like, you can make your comeback. And, there's, man, it's wild because I know you. I don't know that part of you. You know what I'm saying?
It's hard to imagine.
So hearing it makes me appreciate you even more, because like, I know you're a good dude, and obviously, we're just getting, the relationship's just brewing, right? But I just know you're a good dude. The stuff you put out is inspirational, and these type of stories, even though it's, we're talking about the rock bottom, it's like, now I see you as this, and I'm like, it's really cool to see people make it out of there and get to where you're at now, and then pursue something they're very passionate about. And then at the level you're pursuing it, people are really gravitating to it and showing love and supporting you. And yo, man, that's a really good story, man. It's literally like some movie stuff.
Thank you.
You know?
Yeah. I just feel grateful, that the story resonates with so many people too. Everyone can relate to whatever addiction, whatever it may be. People have their dark moments and their dark places, but yeah, it's been impactful for sure.
Yeah, man. I don't know where I want to go because sometimes I got to stop myself from ranting because I'm like, dude, alcohol is bananas, bro. It really is. And when we see what went on in 2020, where it's like these facilities could stay open, but the church couldn't, I'm like,
right.
Word.
What
All right.
do we really need right now?
Word. I'm on YouTube probation, y'all, man. In April, I'm coming back crazy.
Chill out.
We're going to get crazy. But, man, I love it. Okay, let's get back into the rap stuff. So you were in a dark place. You were rhyming, though, while you were drinking and stuff. You were still rhyming, so that means you were doing shows.
Don't go listen to that stuff. That was pretty sad.
Where was it dark? Was some of the stuff dark?
It was dark. It was depressing, like loneliness.
Yeah.
Like just rapping about the saddest stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, as you got out of this dark place, things start to change. What changed? Like, if you gave me a timeline, did you meet your wife? Did you start recording? What was the next thing when you start? Because obviously there's a process. Did you go to like, what is it?
Rehab.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you have to go to rehab? That took its time. Just kind of give me like a timeline. So you went to rehab. You started to get better. Did you,
And that was like right when I was about to get out the military too. So it was like the perfect time for me to really chase that dream if I wanted to. So I went to rehab in February of 2015, and then I met my wife in November 2015, and I've been sober for 8-9 months. And everything kind of just kept going in the right direction. Yeah. Nice. I worked for the fire department for like a year or two for the Air Force, and then I was like, let's do this rap thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
So as you start to navigate the rap world, what were some of the things you were doing? Were you recording do you record yourself?
Yep.
Okay. So, that's tight. So you start recording yourself, you start releasing music. What was the first ripple? Like, cause I remember you've done some competitions. We kind of had a conversation. Was that the first big thing that kind of put you on the stage, kind of like as a player in the game, would you say?
I think doing things like Team Backpack, I did that in Brooklyn in 2017. And
really?
then,
I missed that, bro. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, heck no.
So I did
Bro,
one of
hold
those.
on. Let me look this up. Hold on.
Don't go find it.
Oh, I shouldn't? No?
No. You can. You can.
Which-
I'm
which-
definitely better now. But.
Are you on it as D.Cure at that time?
Team Backpack, D.Cure. Yeah.
I'm sleeping on you, bro. Let's go. I'm about to wake up.
Yeah, so we did Team Backpack. I did stuff with Cypher Circuit, which was another big Instagram.
Let's see if it pops up. If we can.
Yeah,
They
I'm not
took
sure
a
if
bunch
it will
down,
be,
bro.
'cause, yeah, that was just an audition.
Okay, so you were in one of the auditions?
Yeah.
Okay, let's just keep the if I find it,
So,
I'll
yeah.
play a little clip. I
did-
don't want to get copyright claimed. They'd be all weird on, so I just play little stuff here and there. But yeah.
So there was a big group called Cypher Circuit that was really big on Instagram, and they had their own website, and there were just a bunch of like MCs that would drop their verse every week to whatever beat that it was for the week. And so I kind of grew that way, just writing every week and then meeting other artists. And we did a cypher in Philly, I think that might have been the same year, 2017 or 18.
Okay.
And yeah, so that was kind of like, the introduction to actually stepping out there and trying something, because it was always just recording at the house and put it on the internet.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so that was like a confidence builder, because I'm an introvert. Like I grew up playing video games and like being quiet and, but I've always loved music, and that was just, a part that I had to embrace. And so
It's interesting how that works. I was really shy young too, and the music has changed that. I'm now where I need to be able to have conversations with people. But even like 6 years ago, I still just like, it's hard to initiate the conversation. Like sometimes someone will ask me something and I'll forget to ask them back. Like, oh, but by the way, how are you doing? Like it's something you kind of grow into, being an introvert. It's so weird, but it's it's weird how introverted people are, you know, a lot of times become artists and become some of the greatest artists of our time. Right. It's really interesting.
It's a weird predicament because we're creative, but it's like, can I share this?
Yeah.
Like, I guess I will.
That's tight. So you went down that road. Now, what I'm curious, you were telling me a pretty cool story about when did this competition, like you were telling me about the CeeLo Green competition. This is mad interesting to me. Let's go.
So
let me hear this.
That same group that I was, you know, a part of, Cypher Circuit, in 2018, they had a competition that was like, this was going to blow everyone's minds. And it did. Mm-hmm. They were like, CeeLo Green wants us to host his competition for his song, Cooking Up Dope.
Okay.
And it was like his big single that he was pushing. So they were going to find out, you know, the winner was going to be on the remix. And then, you know, halfway through the competition, CeeLo posts a video saying like, there's also going to be a record deal. And so everyone's like hyped up.
Yeah.
And sure enough, at the end of the month, the result came out and I was the winner.
Nice.
And I was like, my life's about to change.
Yeah.
And then nothing happened, which was just like, it was dope because it told me that I was good enough to get someone's attention, that, you know, I'd been working really hard to get to a place where someone that was sitting in the big seat, you know, thought I was dope. But at the same time, it's like, maybe that wasn't the path for me.
Yeah.
So
it gave you a little extra confidence and kind of started launching that. You know, there's a book I've been rocking with. I'm reading it again. I just read it over, Think and Grow Rich. And essentially the concept of it is think and grow rich, right? But when you start getting into it, the premise is you can't just think of what you want to be. You have to feel it inside of you. You have to be like, yo, I am this.
True.
And that's what the thoughts become. And then you have to take action. And I think, you know, sometimes that type of confidence will just be like, you know, you thought you could do it, but now you're like, I know I can do it. Once you know you can do it, you can do it. Once you know that. So once you know it, it's different. Like even when I say you know it and I went like this, I started getting goosebumps because I know, like even with the YouTube stuff, I know it's going to happen. It's just I feel it.
Yeah.
And then the next thing is taking the action towards it, and that's when the things start to cultivate. But I made a face while you were saying this, and I want to clarify why I made this face. My buddy, so this has happened. So my buddy recognized from Mayday, won the Jay-Z Rock the Mic battle.
Okay.
Won it on MTV.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to get a record deal. He beat Swan. Go look this up on the YouTubes, y'all.
I
the
know
Googles. Recognized, beat Swan in the MTV. He went to Puerto Rico, got his little plaque. I think he got like 25,000, 30K but he was supposed to get a record deal, and it didn't happen. So when you said that, I've heard this. Now I was in the Jay-Z Rock the Mic battle in Denver, and we were and I battled this homeboy named Dent. Now for the life of me, I couldn't accept because the battle was super close, and I always I thought I won the battle, right? And it's in front of like 20,000 people at Fiddler's Green. And I thought I won it. And they did this like, you know, Just Blaze is doing this like crowd meter.
Oh, yeah.
And my thing, I always would say, oh, he won because he was getting boos and it was raising the crowd meter, right?
Very loud boos.
But what I'm going to come back and say is like, that wasn't my time. And he won. Like I finally got to the maturity. Like, look, they said he won. He won. There's no reason for me. You know what I'm saying? Because back then you're braggadocious, you're arrogant.
Always.
But anyways, he gets the super cool Rockefeller plaque. But there was supposed to be more after it, like potential record deals, potential this, that, and the other, and it never came to fruition. So when you said that story, it just started. I'm like, I know, playa.
It's frustrating. You know, the record didn't even get recorded. We talked, you know, me and him talked on the phone a couple of times. It sounded like Sony was never fully behind him when he like made all these promises. And so they were just kind of empty promises that never came about. But it was good to have that life lesson, you know, that to know that maybe I don't want to be in the industry. Maybe I want to go my own route. If people, you know, can see that I have the skill.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and the industry is interesting. I've seen people buy verses from famous rappers, and then the label's just like cease and desist. You can't put this out. We own them. We own their voice. You're like, what? What part of the game is this? So that's real. That's awesome. Now, so you have this momentum chapters are moving in your book, right? There's so many different chapters we kind of skimmed over right now, which super interesting. I like that that's how you took the competition, because I do know people who've lost competitions and they just go into obscurity. You usually like, yo, this is dope, you know, gave you more confidence. You started pushing harder. What was the next thing after that? Because you know, when did you start seeing things catch on? When did you meet Topher and Marine? Like, how did all these things start coming about?
So I actually met them just before all that competition. We met probably 2017.
Okay.
We all are veterans, and so it made us easy to connect. But TMR really was trying to find like the best military artists. Like his goal was to start
which he's
a
lit.
label.
He's
Yeah.
really dope. Like he can rap. All y'all can rap. He's lit.
He's surprising. But yeah, so he found us basically to form a group with the best like military MCs.
Yeah.
And so we had this group called Space Force. We still do.
Yes.
And so we ended up doing these, like, we did a Let's Go Brandon. We did We Are the People. We had some like big tracks that really got traction. And
I remember the Let's Go Brandon. I think I reacted to it on my channel, but I liked it. Like it had a bounce to it, but it was different than the other ones I had heard. Because at that time there was a Loza joint and a Bryson joint, and all of you guys had like a different spin, but I really did like yours. You guys had like a race car type of theme to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was tight.
We had like the Ricky Bobby outfits.
Yeah. It was tight.
So yeah, I mean that was all just for fun, but it just shows you, you know, what you can do when you're just like in the zone, like just creating just for fun. But so creating with those guys has obviously been big, and we hit Billboard and stuff with all that. So that was like
You're you guys,
huge, you know.
Did you guys hear that? Listen close, open your ears. Ding, ding, ding. Did you hear that? From the darkest pit, from almost being eliminated from this life to a Billboard charting artist with his homies.
Just like that.
Can I get the Magnolia clap?
What a gift. Yeah.
Let's go.
Never too late.
Yep.
It's never too late.
I love it. So with that type of traction, you know, I've seen you kind of boosted on your own, and then with those brothers really doing it. Let's talk about that real quick. I don't know how far I can go with YouTube. We probably should do some stuff on Rumble and just go crazy, because at Black Pegasus Raps, Rumble, you guys. There's a lot of censorship going on. You got a song taken down on YouTube with Bryson Gray. It's really interesting because I said this in a podcast, and TMR actually sampled it and put it on, I believe it was Conservatives with Attitude, the beginning. And I still, to this day, believe this, because I grew up in the era of Snoop Dogg. They were trying to ban Snoop Dogg, censor Snoop Dogg. Yep. And at that time, it's the conservatives, and it was everyone. Both political parties, like, oh my God, this is going to take our children's soul. Like, and I mean, I don't approve of, you know, like as an adult, I'm not listening to that stuff. But, you know, in America, we should have freedom to express ourselves. And I think it's so weird how the pendulum has swung, where we're literally censoring gangster rap. Now gangster rap is the hero.
Yeah.
And you guys who are in a different
clean hip hop,
just hip hop, no cursing, just doing your thing, is targeted as like, hey, it's just wild to me. And Bryson's the greatest example in the sense of I forgot the rap song, but he broke it down so elegantly. I'm like, dude, this is true. This is true. Like he's literally saying like, dude, I don't curse. I'm talking about these concepts, and you're taking me off the internet when these people, and I have a song called Black Pander, and I talk about that, where I'm like, bro, they're literally popping perks, they're twerking, like anything that can like devour a culture. It doesn't matter what a culture, it could take it down the wrong path. I'm over here just rapping about the things we're dealing with in 2020, and I'm getting, you know, shadow banned and stuff like that. And I think it's really interesting because I know, you know, I follow all of you guys and I like your work. That's what it just opened me up. And in my hip hop journey, NWA was a big thing for me. I was like, what is this? Like, what did they just say? And when I'm hearing you guys, that's what opened me up, because I didn't know. And I'm just going to keep it real. And my bad, you guys. I try to do like conversation interviews. I hate making it about me because it's about you. When I heard like some of these people saying some of the things I thought, I was like, I didn't know because I always like, oh, you're not allowed to think this. Like no one looks like you saying these things. You know what I'm saying? Like, even... And when I saw you guys saying things, I'm like, hey, man, these guys look like me. I feel, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, this is cool. Like, I feel the same way with a lot of this stuff. And it helped open me up to a whole different area of music and different thinking. And, I think I'm still building my stance as I learn and grow. But it's like, yo, man, I was for sure super left-leaning. And as I went through 2020, I learned a lot of things about myself, about politics, about things. And I'm definitely not in that same category. And I just want to be a good human being, be a good man, and do the right things. But I'm not into all these ideologies and all these things that are coming for us and our mind in the programming. Right. And I appreciate you guys putting out those type of records and sticking to your morals and your laurels. You you guys are really doing something. And I feel like it is different. Like it's very unique. I know you might do you get flack for that?
Not too much.
Okay.
For me, I feel like the culture has just shifted, but also it hasn't, because it's all still very destructive, but they don't want us to go against being destructive. Like they'd rather, we were just accepting the drugs and, that side of hip hop, while we're trying to enlighten minds and let people, exercise their freedoms. That becomes the danger, because people are knowledgeable and they're wise and they're about to push back. And so I feel like in hip hop, it's easy to keep us in one place, and that's just where they want us to be. And they don't want us to, progress in any kind of way that helps us.
Yeah. Andy Frisella says this, and I'm a fan of Andy and the First Form guys, but he says the greatest way currently to go against the establishment is to become your best version. Yeah. And when you start thinking about the things that are being advocated in this time and being pushed, it's like, yo, that's a great way to put it. And even me saying that, I don't have to get in trouble by saying that. I'm not over here like, you know what I'm saying? Right. And I'm like, that's true. Now, what do you guys think is next? Now, you guys are trying to tour. Is that, because when I ask, have you gotten pushback? I have started to see some mainstream rappers call out people in your space, and it's it's interesting because I'm a fan of some of the people calling out, and I'm a fan of what you guys are doing. It makes it interesting because some of these people have relationships that I can get on the show, and I don't know if getting people on the show, how that affects. You know what I mean? Because I'm like just interested in everyone's story.
Yeah.
There's two people particular who are on different sides of the aisle, and I'm just like, okay, if I bring one of them on, how does this affect getting the other one on my show? Do you know what I'm saying?
It might.
So it's like weird because I've never been a political. I'm not trying to play politics.
Same.
And it's very interesting. Now with that type of pushback here and there, how is it booking concerts?
It's almost impossible. I mean, we've done maybe 2 shows a year for the past 3 years since 2020. So,
and you're Billboard charting artist,
right?
Who's at the top of the heap? Is it Topher as the biggest song with Patriot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, it's interesting because I even saw recently Bryson and them came to. I was trying to go to it, but they ended up doing a concert at a church instead of doing a venue because it's just like no
one will have us. Yeah, they're like, oh well.
And it's so
those people over here
in the culture that is supposed to accept everyone. We have Korean pop stars blowing up bigger than hip hop artists in America right now. We can't allow clean rap into a concert venue because it goes against structurally what the current Hollywood narrative is for that controls the music industry.
Absolutely. It's insane. It's insane to watch. So, to answer your question, I have no idea where it's going, but we're just going to keep rolling, right?
Well, this is why
creating.
This is why I love it, because you guys have a support system that's unique. I keep saying, I'm not gonna talk about blah, blah, blah. I've been in this game a long time, you guys. I got a lot of notoriety, and these brothers beat me in every metric when it comes to record sales, charting on Billboard, and I love to see it. I'm not a hater. I know that you guys being successful and me rooting for you is better for my life energy than hate. Like, that's why I'm like, dude, I try to show love, way more love now. But I've toured all of America like 6 times. I've toured all of Europe. I've toured Canada. I have songs with Tech9, like you name it. And these brothers beat me on that metric because of you guys. Some of you who are watching this who support them, keep supporting them. It's gonna happen. Like, you guys are gonna figure it out. I'll help with whatever I can help out with too. But it's interesting that you said that, because I wasn't sure. Me and you have had combos, but I wasn't sure if all those doors were closing like that with, booking concert venues and stuff like that.
It feels that way. Every time, where it's like, oh, we're gonna have this show, we're gonna do this tour. Someone turns their back on us. I don't know who's pulling strings behind the scenes, but someone is.
Yeah. And
so it's been really tough. So we just, stay creating tons of music and kind of pushing that way online. But that's kind of the most we can do at this point.
Now, where all of you guys are at, not trying to get, too deep into whatever you can answer here, I would love to hear it. Do you guys solely live off music? And actually, let's get that first.
No.
Okay. No,
I wish.
Yeah.
That's
So getting there. Okay, because I know how hard it is to live off of music, and I was curious. Where's Topher at? Is he at a point where he's starting to live?
Doing good, yeah.
Yeah, because he's starting to, I see him kind of peaking. I saw the joint with Tommy Vex, which I'm a super fan of Tommy Vex. I'd love to get him or Topher in here eventually. Yeah. But I was curious because the music game isn't what people think. It's very hard to make money. The royalty structure, I came from selling CDs. Mm-hmm. I buy CDs. They're about $1.20 a pop. Yep. I sell them for $10. You make a great margin. You're able to feed your family. You get fractions of a penny on these digital streams. Even when people are buying it on iTunes, you don't make what people think.
Right. Even with millions of streams, it's not too much.
And it's funny because the record labels get to negotiate what they make. Did you know that from Spotify?
Yeah.
Like, if you have that relationship, hey, we need this much a stream. It's wild.
I wish I had the little bit of reach like that.
Yeah, things are going to change. It's just, you got to get to that level. I was curious how that worked. Now, how far do you think you are from living off of music solely, or being an entertainer? Because you do funny sketches on IG. Yeah. These things help. All of them are tools.
I'm hoping within the next year I could make a living and just solely focus on music and creating content. But yeah,
touring's a big part of it. You guys need to tour to bring that in.
I know that would be,
because you could get the merch person to person. You start eliminating all the online fees and all that nonsense. And if we still have a cash society, there's a lot of perks
for sure. Yeah.
Touring.
Oh, yeah.
This is true.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, I know that's one thing that would probably push it over, to where I felt comfortable. But if it's all online, like you said, the margins are razor thin. So.
The game is a little bit rigged, but if you understand the game, you could put the ball in your court. You can still win. I just like the approach you guys take. And to be real, man, when I was seeing all the support you guys get, I just get really excited because I'm watching TMR. And for you guys that are new to some of this content, TMR stands for The Marine Rapper, and then we have Topher, and right now we have D.Cure. They're in that group we were speaking of. So you guys check them out. But seeing the type of support you get, I think I'm subscribed to all of you guys, but I know I see his yo, we're on this iTunes chart, and he's always and the support system gets behind you guys, and you guys put out good music, it's solid stuff, so that it's not just people supporting because you have the same ideology. It's also hey, we all believe these things, right? But we have good music, and that's what's going to keep getting you guys even.
The quality has to remain.
Yeah.
I think having that, kind of like we talked about, being a backpacker and being so serious about hip-hop and lyrics and, all that stuff really made me stay grounded, but also to make sure that the quality stayed there, even if the subject matter changed.
Yeah.
So.
What's the fastest rap you've ever spit? I gotta ask.
I don't know.
Okay.
Pretty fast.
Okay. Do you have anything? Do you have anything you have memorized that you can do a cappella?
Oh man,
Putting you on the spot. You don't have to. Yeah, I'm just
trying to
curious.
think.
This is super random. We're almost at an hour, so I'm just like, oh yeah. I'm such a fan.
I'd have to think on the
Okay.
verse. I'm trying to think which one's fast. There's plenty fast ones, but I'm trying to think of the fastest. That's the hard part.
It doesn't have to be the fastest because the way you rap is so intricate. It's fun. If there's something that you just know really well, that you perform a lot or whatever, and you'd be down just to spit some of it, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Just a cappella. Hey, let's get it. Every time the medic, they call him. Me said it. Dinner. Go get it. But you don't have to.
I want to. I'm just like, man, I can't. I have too many. That's the problem.
When did you start gravitating to rhyming fast like that? Was there a specific artist that, was it natural?
I used to be a big fan of like Twista way before. I don't know if you ever heard Off the Tip of My Tongue that he did way back.
I don't know. I'm more of like from the adrenaline rush time.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I think it was before that.
Yeah.
Like it was like young Twista.
Remember he came out with the
him. Tech Never Hurt That. Motivation, Ritz and all those guys. But I mean, Twista was the first one I heard. I think that was like him when he was before Adrenaline Rush, before he kind of popped off. But
I have a big question for you. What's the secret to rapping fast? Like I can't rap fast. I'm just starting to try to get I can kind of do double time. Yeah. What do I need to work on? Is there like an exercise? Like one of my brothers was like, go like you got to get your lips moving faster. Like what's the?
Nope. It's just a puzzle.
Okay.
It's just about connecting the right words.
Certain syllables. I've noticed that.
Yeah.
I've noticed that.
Like a lot of V's, words with V's in them.
Okay, so V's are helpful?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
So
they're like it's like a formula, like the Krabby Patty formula for hip hop. And it's really just about combining the right words so that they flow quick.
Yeah, I've noticed that because I noticed Eminem has taken that on, and I'm like, bro, this is kind of crazy because he puts like those really big metaphorical punchlines with. I'm like, dude, what is going on? I always call it sacred geometry. I'm like, bro.
What is the song Gorilla or whatever? What is it?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Godzilla. Yeah, it has a Juice WRLD.
Vanilla Gorilla. He has the V's in there.
Oh.
Yeah. Hit him with a bit the venom and eliminate him. Like, he has the V's.
All right. I got to write. I'm going to take notes. I'm going to be rapping fast, you guys.
That's right.
I got to get on this, I'm not, try to get to this Harry Mack level at least, freestyling.
Big time.
All right, man. Well, I think this was a really good interview. We're almost an hour in, and you answered a lot of good questions. I think there's just I enjoyed having this conversation with you.
Same.
Let's do it again, too, because I'm sure I'm going to have more conversation. We could have went deep down a bunch of different pathways.
Rabbit holes.
Yeah, but this is awesome, man. And I'm glad. What's so cool is you brought up a bunch of stuff that could have got skimmed over, like the Billboard artist. That's epic. You having brothers, sisters, and that's why I like just getting the conversation flowing because then things just come out organically. So
I appreciate you having me.
Heck yeah, you guys.
It's been a good time.
All right, we're going to get ready to ride off into the sunset, you guys. Where are we at? 53 minutes, man, with the one and only D.Cure. Make sure you're checking him out on the interwebs. Do you want to give anything a shout out before we go?
Shout out to God.
Let's go. The only
what's
shout
up
out
to my
need.
wife and obviously TMR and Topher, the homies, and everyone else out there.
Heck yeah.
And this guy.
Let's just shout out the platform. We were talking about that. What's it called? Barkeepers? Do you want to
Barkeepers? Yeah.
Let's actually talk about that before we go real quick. So for artists out there, right? Because this is more for artists.
Yeah.
Put us on game. He has a platform called the Barkeepers. How does this thing work? How does it go?
So we have a bunch of dope producers, and every Monday we drop a brand new beat, and we have judges that end up voting on all the verses. So we end up picking a top 5, and they collect keys. Mm-hmm. And with these keys, you can trade them in for stuff to help you as an artist for like beat leases, mixes, artwork for your album cover, merch, whatever you want that we have it's called an access list. So
Okay.
you're accessing with your keys these perks that really just you put the time in and the effort in, win the keys, and you get to cash them out.
I really like that idea and how you guys put it together with the keys, but it's called the Barkeepers. Like,
The Barkeepers,
this is kind of ill, man. Like, yo, where was this when I was in my like 18, 19? Then again, that was 1998. So I was rapping over cassette tapes, you guys. So you guys take advantage of the Barkeepers, please.
Yeah, come check us out. We have a live. Our guy High Sunday runs the page now, but he does a live every Sunday and goes over everyone's submissions every Sunday evening. And so, you know, people are in the chat room talking about verses and everyone's showing love. So it's awesome time.
Epic. Well, you guys, check out my man D.Cure. Super awesome. I appreciate you being here with me,
Thank
man,
you.
and sharing your story, you know, being vulnerable, putting it out there so people can learn from our mistakes. And you guys, if you enjoyed this, I need you to make sure you're tapping in the chat and the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and comment on all the content. But most importantly, subscribe to your boy. Give your boy a subscribe. Let's hit this 100K. The channel is, I'm going to just keep it real. It's kind of a variety show. I do a bunch of hip hop and music reactions on the channel. We do podcasting, we do interviews, and we do have like street interviews and sketches, plus my music. A lot going on there, but once we hit 100K, we're going to spider web it out and kind of tailor it. We'll have a podcast channel and then more specific stuff. But I need your guys' help to get there.
Let's go.
We're about to get out of here. It's your boy Black P, and you know what it is, y'all. 40.
Thank you for being some man. 40 years down the road, back again. FUQ, boy.